Leadership that gets result. Now, there are billions of books on leadership. You walk into any online store or a bookstore physically, and you'd be confused by the number of titles, books, research on leadership. The idea of this session is not to confuse you any further. The idea of the session is to simplify things and make it more relatable to who we are and what we intend to do. Now, your interest, my interest here is to sort of demystify this element called leadership that gets us the results. But it's important that we get some things out of the way, something very clear amongst us. And the first thing is, what does actually leadership mean? Now, if you look at some of these quotes, which I'm going to put up on the screen, you will find different thought leaders have or are using different ways to describe leadership. And they are looking at a perspective. They have their own dimension. They have their own interpretation of it. And all these slides are running on your screen right now. Many, many dimensions. And if one reads them, then maybe we'll get a feeling that leadership is many, many things. Some people may feel confused about what exactly is leadership. Simon Sinek this thing, and Colin Powell says something else, and Zig Ziglar says something else, and Brian Tracy says something else. What exactly is ultimately leadership? So here we are. What we are going to look at is, first and foremost, get this out of our way. When we say leadership that gets results, let us get it clear into what are the results that leadership is expected to deliver. So I'll request each one of you to go to the chat box right now. And chat box is enabled, Peter?
Yes, it is.
Go to the chat box, all of you, and write down one or two words as to what are the results that are expected from leaders in your own interpretation. Please go ahead. So Sapna says support. I'm not reading out some of these which are coming up in the chat box. Empathy, mentoring, trust, deliverables, credibility, sustainable and wholesome. They show the way, they upgrade themselves and surroundings, direction. Peterson himself says direction. Yeah. So, and I'm all those who are not even responding should read the chat box, because you will notice that there are very unique perspectives and interpretations of what leaders are responsible for is coming up in this chat box. It seems like if you read this, leaders have to be superhuman, the Batmans and the Supermans of the world, isn't it? And that's what is a myth to my mind. Leadership is many, many things, but not about being a superhuman or a superman. It's about being real and being authentic. It's about helping people, helping organization deliver what is needed to be delivered. So while I've gone through this, it has given me an understanding and insight into how you all are thinking. So therefore, it is important to understand the theme around this. So if I read up some of these things, mentor, SMART goals, team spirit, direction, show the way, sustainable, impactful, mentoring, empathy, support, a lot of these words give me certain themes. And when I'm going to cover further in this presentation, I will share and bring up these themes again with you. I call them themes because there is a pattern. There is an underlying commonality among some of these, and I'll bring it up as I go further. Now, leadership is critical. It is expected to get results. And the results have been defined by all of you in the chat box. So there was this research done by Daniel Goleman, and he had identified 6 distinct leadership styles, which are on your screen. And in his research, he has explained how these leadership styles help people, help organization and teams get the results. So let's first understand these styles. The first style is called the commanding style. Now, in this style, the leaders have a tendency to use a particular approach, and that approach is demonstrated by their language, and their language is do what I tell you. So they will come up to you and say, hey, I want this done. Do it this way and give it back to me. Very, very specific, very, very instructional, uh, and very, very in the face. That's the style of commanding. Some leaders have that tendency. The next style is called the visionary style. Visionary style is also called authoritative style. Visionary style is a style adopted by leaders who have rich credibility, immense credibility about what they have done and accomplished. And people are willing to look up to them and follow them. And this style, the leaders tend to say, come with me. And come with me signifies that I'm going to take you to a place, to a bright future where you will all prosper. You will feel great and good about where you have reached. It could be an enhancement of skills or the results that we get together. So people are drawn by the credibility of that leader in that moment, and they are willing to go with them wherever the leader wants to go. It's not a Pied Piper. Pied Piper takes you somewhere else. But this is a leader who has demonstrated character and credibility in the past on any initiative. That's one more style. The third style that Daniel Goleman talks about is affiliative style. Affiliative style is a style which is adopted by leaders, and it tends to show up in their approach. They tend to be very people centered. They focus on people first and then the task later. So if there is something that comes up which requires them to evaluate between whether the task should be done in this moment or the people have to be handled well, they will prefer people. And this style is signified by people come first. Everything else comes second. At 5 p.m., you walk into your boss and say, boss, I can't stay any longer on Friday. I have something to do at home. They'll say, go ahead, you go. I will take care of your work. That's the affiliative style. For them, people come first. They want to take care of people in any given situation. That's the third style. The fourth style is democratic style. We know what democracy is. Our country is a democracy. Everybody can say anything, right? In democracy, the leadership style is signified by leaders saying, what do you think? So they seek views and opinions and ideas. They leverage the skills, the strengths, they leverage the expertise of their team members, because they come from a standpoint that I don't know enough. And even if I know enough, there is much more available, much more accessible from each one of you. And when we have all of that, we together will take a great decision or reach a solution. That's the fourth one. The fifth style is called the pace setting style. Now, the word explains to you pace setting. These are the leaders who will stand on your head and say, go, 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 go. You know your job. You know everything that you have to do. There is no lack of expertise in the team members, but the leaders would not micromanage you like commanding. They will not instruct you, but they will keep saying, go, go, go. You can do it. Let's do it fast. Let's do it quick. Let's do it right. That's the type of language. And they set the pace. If the pace is lagging, they will come in and push it more, harder. It's not exactly motivation. It's exactly pacing you. And this style is about do as I do now. The leaders say, look, I'm also doing it. No, I'm getting into it. Why don't you? And that's how they set the pace. The sixth style in the research from Daniel Goleman is called the coaching style. Now, coaching style is a style where leaders say, try this. And coaching style is a style where leaders believe that people have the potential. They do not know how to realize the potential. They believe that people want to change and improve and become better. So what they do is they coach them. They give them maybe suggestions. They coach them literally to think about their own ways on how they can improve themselves, and then support and encourage them to take actions and become better. So these are the six distinct styles that are expected to get results. My question to you, and I want your response in the chat box, which of the six styles do you believe is the best style? Of the six that I've shared with you, which one of the six is the best? Go and input in your chat box, write down the style name. Which one is the best of the six? I don't know. Oh, I'm seeing it already. Yeah. I see Sapna says coaching. Anusha says depends. Nandan says depends. Gerard says visionary. I'm getting Sapan says no one depends. Rajiv Narayan says situational. Aisha says democratic affiliative, right? So you would notice that based on our own understanding today, either people are saying this style or the other style, and some of you, in fact, a lot of you are saying mix of all, situational, depends, and that's the correct answer. The leadership that gets results is a leadership or a leader who has the ability to choose a style of the sixth style in a given situation. So it means that if there is a deadline to be achieved, a leader need to be commanding in that moment if it is a last minute thing which has to be done. However, if there is a change, which means people have to change the way they work, the way they think, the way they behave, and the leader in those moments tends to become more visionary because then people are open to change when leaders use visionary style. So each of this style is a good style, but no one style is the best style. And leaders need to be mature and versatile. Versatility means it's like Amitabh Bachchan, right? He can do, in his heydays, he could do comedy, he could do action, he could do drama, and he could do tragedy, whatever, right? So depending on the script of the movie, for example, these days Amir Khan is considered versatile. For each movie, he acquires that character, physicality, the mentality of that, the appearance, the way he delivers dialogues, right? And he does not remain the same Amir Khan. But if you look at Mr. Salman Khan, don't get me wrong, all the girls will hate me when I give this example. Salman Khan can do any role, but still will be the Salman Khan, right? So Salman Khan is not that versatile. He makes lots of money, much more than Amir Khan. But Amir Khan is considered more versatile. That's the analogy. That's the example I wanted to give you for you to understand this piece. I'll request you that if you have any questions, I will not stop here, but you can put your question in the chat box. I will try and address it at the end. So these are the six styles. And the learning that I think you already have is that leaders need to be adept at flexing themselves, moving around the six styles depending on the situations. In the later part of the presentation, I will share with you some examples through a quiz of how leadership styles has to be different in given different situations. Now, there are the six styles. Now, all of these styles have pros and all of these styles have cons. So we'll spend some time to understand what are the pros and cons of each style. So let's look at the first one, which is called the commanding style. Like I told you, commanding style works best when either your people are new to you, new to the process, then they would need guidance and instructions, or you want to get things done fast. Simple. And there are situations where you have to get things done fast. There is a report to go at 5 p.m. and at 4 p.m. you can't have any other style excepting saying, get it done, go and get it done. So that style works. However, when you use this style, it impacts the motivation of people. Remember that. So therefore, if you start using the style beyond the situations when it is required, all these cons start to show up. People feel demotivated. People feel that they are being used only for their arms and legs and not their mind. You may find attrition with such leaders going up higher, right? So don't use the style beyond where or when it is required. The cons come up and show up in your day-to-day work. So that's one style. The second style is visionary style. Like I told you, visionary style is about people saying, come with me. And it works well when organization or teams need clear direction. As a leader, if you have to change your direction from a Monday to Friday or a Friday to next Friday, this style works best. It is motivating and exciting for employees because you are promising them indirectly, you are in fact showing them that the benefits of their changing their behavior, their mindset, their approach, and doing new, getting out of comfort zone and doing new is going to be rewarding for them. So that's motivating and exciting, and people come up and show up more. Their whole enthusiasm is way much higher. However, there are cons of this, that if you use this style, some of the team members may feel demotivated. They want instructions. They may come out of the room and they say, leader did not tell us what exactly has to be done. So it may not work with every team member of a leader, of a team. So therefore, it becomes important that we must understand the cons and address our entire audience. The biggest con is that if this change does not work for people, they feel demotivated and they get cynical about you as a leader. Next time you turn around to them, use this style, they'll say, no fun. We don't believe this leader anymore. It happens with a lot of political leaders, if you know what I mean, that there is detachment. Some people feel great and some people feel not great about leaders because leaders show vision, and then vision is not achieved, that demotivates or puts off a lot of population against that leader. It has happened in any country, including India. So that's visionary. It's also called authoritative leadership. In this case, authoritative leadership is not a bad word. Authority is considered bad, but not in the case of this research. The next one is called affiliative leadership, where people come first, right? Now here, the pros are that you can get people together, resolve the conflicts. It is expected in our part of the world where human-to-human connection is considered more important. And if this style is missing from a leader, it's felt very badly. It also produces happy workers, right? Your team will be very, very happy with you if you use this style. However, the con is that happier worker does not mean productive workers. So maybe mediocrity will be accepted because you don't want to ask difficult questions to your team members. You want to keep them happy. So therefore, you will not ask questions or push them to get better or bigger results. And therefore, the performance may dip. And average performers will pull down even the great performers who will not feel motivated to perform well because they feel the other people are not being asked questions to improve their performance. That's the third style, which is called the affiliative. Now, let us look at democratic, where I told you the leader says, what do you think? He takes views. So what are the pros of this? That when there are highly skilled people in your team, they all feel involved because their expertise, their knowledge, their skill sets are being leveraged. They feel engaged. They feel the decision being taken has their say in it, and that creates a lot of ownership, right? A shared ownership among them. However, the cons are that in some of the cultures, right, it may be difficult. For example, in Asian culture, sometimes you would notice that it is taught to us that don't answer or don't question or don't answer your seniors, right? So when a senior comes and asks for suggestion, sometimes we may not give a suggestion because we'll see senior will feel bad, right? So it can be, and this culture could be country, it could be organization, it could be just your team. Secondly, when it becomes democratic, then you have to hear everybody's views, and the decision making may be slowed down because you will start to feel pressurized that I have to incorporate all these views and then take a decision. Democratic leadership actually is not about building consensus. Democratic leadership is about information collection and based on that, taking decision. And that decision taking is the job of the leader. You can't build consensus. Consensus means everybody should agree. Nothing. Even at home, everybody is not able to agree on what to do on a weekend, right? One or the other member is always unhappy about you are not doing what I wanted to do on a weekend. So consensus is not possible. Leaders have to take decisions, and if they wait, the decisions will be delayed, and that can impact the morale of people. So, democratic style also has the pros and the cons. Then comes the pace setting style. Now, what is pace setting style? I told you is about do as I do now, which means push, push, push. Now, what happens is that you can do it only with self-driven teams. People who are motivated, highly talented, know what is to be done, they do it. It's focused on result, like the first one, it gets you the result. However, it may cause long-term problem. And long-term problem is because if your leader is sitting on your head for weeks, months, and keeps saying, go, 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 it will cause you burnout. You will feel pressurized. There is no, what you call downtime for you, mentally, physically, right? And when you're so obsessed with results, which means final results, outcomes, then you may ignore the people side, the well-being of the people, their health, the both mental and the physical health, right? It will not allow you to get creative and think and get some brilliant brainstormed ideas and introduce innovation because you are being pushed and pushed, right? There's no downtime. And lastly, of course, it could end up being micromanagement, and that impacts the Trust. I noticed Nandan talked about trust here. Then comes the last one, the coaching style. The coaching style is about try this. So you should use this style when the staff member, your team member is self-motivated. Like they say, you can take the horse to the water, but can't make the horse drink the water. Motivation is when the horse also wants to drink the water. And then you take him there and then he will drink it on its own, right? So coaching style works with leaders or people in your teams who want to become better, are motivated to become better, and are willing to take actions to become better. They don't know the way. And through coaching style, you help them identify that way, that approach to make them better. And con is simply don't do it if the staff is not motivated. Like I said, you can take the horse to the water, but not make the horse drink the water. Only if they're motivated, use that style. So these are the 6 styles. I've seen a question which I will like to respond from Anusha, which says, what to do if one specific leadership is not comfortable or doesn't suit well for all the team members? Flex. Anusha, I just mentioned to you. So let us say you are using democratic style. Okay. Now, democratic style has to be used when your team members are talented, skilled, motivated. Now imagine if there is one person who is not, of the 6 team members, one is not. 5 will give you idea, the 6th one will not. So what do? You can either ignore him because he does not have that expertise. But if he has expertise and he is not speaking up, what do? Maybe you will have to offline build affiliative leadership with him, so that if there is anything which is bothering him, impacting him, he also comes out of that shell. And in the next meeting, when you use your democratic style, he or she also contributes. So it has to be a mix. You are very right that different strokes for different folks, isn't it? That's what we say. So that applies to your team members also. You can't look at each team member the same way. They are all different, unique people, and therefore you will have to flex yourself, be more versatile in the approaches that you use with them. Is it helpful, Anusha, to you? You can put a yes in the chat box. Yeah, thank you. Okay, now what happens is that this leadership style also impacts the culture, right? The climate in the team, the climate in the organization as a whole, depending on the number of leaders and the expanse of that organization. And so what I'm going to do is, I've explained to you all these pros and cons of all the 6 styles. I'm going to put up a question on the screen, which is to be addressed in the following way. In these styles are appearing in descending order of importance, highest to lowest, right? Okay. And each of this style has an impact on the drivers of climate. Climate is nothing but culture in the team. What type of culture is being created in the team? What I would request you to do is go into the chat box and write down which do you believe is the right response of the 4 responses, and write down only A, B, C, D depending on which you think. For example, if I take A, it means that coaching has the maximum impact, positive impact, and commanding in the last has the least impact on the culture in the team. So make your choices, take a minute or two, think about it, read through, and then put it in the chat box. Nandan here is saying ACBD. And Nandan, there has to be only one response. Chirag says D, B, B, C, I'm seeing. Tushar says C. There are B's. There are many, many responses coming. A is also coming in. B is there, D is there. Only C is not there. The C is also there. So in fact, all of you guys are shooting in the dark now. It says, koi to theek hoga. A, B, C, D. Yeah. Okay. I'll not answer this question. Just wait for some more time and you'll get the answer in the next slide. Now, the research that was further done by Daniel Goleman demonstrates the following. On the left-hand side, you see these 6 drivers of climate, which impact the culture in the team, right? The flexibility, responsibility, standard, rewards, clarity, and commitment. And coercive style, which is appearing in the first box, is the commanding style. When this style is used beyond the situations, then it has a negative impact. Are you noticing minuses? And standards, it is 0.02, which means standard is norms, expectation, expectation of performance. That's pretty much what it is, standards, right? Accepting that all other areas are negative impact on the climate culture. If you look at authoritative, which is the visionary style, you will find everything is positive, right? And since it excites and sort of encourages and makes people enthusiastic, you would notice rewards is at 0.554, clarity is 0.44. Huge positive impact in authoritative. When it comes to affiliative, again, you will notice it's all positive across all the 6 parameters or drivers of climate. When it comes to democratic, again, you find it is all positive. When you look at pace setting, you will find again it is what? Negative. Accepting responsibility, which is 0.04. It has a negative impact on the climate, on the drivers of climate. And when it comes to coaching, you will again find it is all positive across all the 6 drivers of climate. As a result of it, you will find in the bottom now that the overall impact on climate clearly is highest when you use visionary style, then comes affiliative style, then comes democratic style, and then comes coaching style, followed by coercive and pace setting. Essentially, the message here is that if you will use a style beyond the situation when it is needed, that's when you will have a problem. You will start to impact the culture negatively. However, for setting standards, if you want to use a style, maybe you can use the commanding style. For responsibility, you may use a pace setting. But otherwise, all these styles will have to be at play depending on the situations. And I'm going to go there in the form of a quiz in the next slide. Again, highlighting the importance of how and why leaders need to be versatile to be able to impact the climate, which means the culture in the team. And what is culture? Culture is the way people do things. And when the way people do things becomes a good recipe, that's when you start to get different types of results. And results the way you defined it in the chat box earlier. Interestingly, none of you, I noticed, defined the results as financial results or financial performance or quantitative numbers of the performance. But that's leaders what are responsible for. Otherwise, it's like operation successful and patient dead. I'm a great leader, but where are the results? Oh, I don't know the results in terms of financial numbers. Those are also critical and important. And all of it comes when leaders build great culture in the team. The team feels engaged, team feels motivated, team feels committed to what together they want to achieve under the leadership of their so-called leader. Okay. I have a question here from Dr. Veer, and he says, since his leadership style should be good when objective or purpose is clear, but COVID-19 is a challenge that do not really work based on textbook style. It's my observation. I'm glad you are making this as an observation, but if I were to ask this entire group here, which is present, I think 55 odd people, in COVID situation, in the COVID scenario, pandemic that we are going through, which of this style would be most appropriate to be used? Can you put in the chat box? Of the 6 styles, you know people are suffering. If they are not suffering, their family members or their relatives are suffering. People are working from home, they're under stress. Which style would be a good style for leaders to use at this moment? Oh, Anusha says affiliative and somebody else, Harshita says affiliative. Kalpesh is commanding. And in fact, that would be incorrect, Kalpesh, because right now people need compassion. Right now people need empathy. And that comes from building relationship. That's affiliative style, right? Peter Sen also says affiliative. Sapna says affiliative and coaching. But essentially, the first strike would be affiliative here. And if you notice, a lot of leaders are actually showing that style. So if they will call you to get some work done, they spend some time figuring out what's happening on your home front. They are doing weekend meetings as families over Zoom, where families get together and talk to each other and share with each other. Whole lot of relationship building is happening because There is an immense amount of stress, and that is causing some conflicts with people. People are not used to working the way we are working. So, Dr. VLN, I understand what you are saying. It requires a completely new way, but it is a new way for people who do not have affiliative style in their styles. They are not comfortable in it. They will find it very challenging. Some leaders will not. Some leaders will to be affiliative in a given situation. Because for them, even now, they'll say, I want results first. Then you talk to me about health. But affiliative style will allow you to be a more compassionate leader. You will first ask, how are you doing? Do you think you can contribute today? If not, let me know now, how can I help you? And then go on with the work talk, if there is work talk. If the person says, look, I am ill, I can't contribute, these compassionate leaders, affiliated will say, okay, don't worry. I'll get it done through somebody else or through some other means, or we can do it later. You have to be in the moment in that situation, demonstrating a style which works the most appropriate. Yeah? Okay. Deepak, I'll address this question maybe in the end. Just keep a note of your question. I'll address it in the end. Okay, so this is where I wanted to sort of recap again. While you are versatile, you're doing all of this, you must remember that you can get short-term results, but true leaders, authentic leaders are not looking at short-term results. They want to create a system of performance. They want to create an institution which can produce results day in and day out. So even if they leave behind a legacy of a culture. And even when they leave, the team continues to function well. And they do it by being versatile, using this because they know I can get results in 6 months to 12 months through using commanding and pace setting and maybe a bit of a democratic here and there. But once they leave, the performance dips, and the next leader finds it very difficult to get the performance up because the culture has not been nurtured, has not been built in that manner. So keep that in mind when you look at leadership that gets results. So this is I have time now, so I'll do a quick quiz with you. Now this quiz is about helping you understand in what situation which style will be most effective. Okay, so you can see these six styles appearing on the right hand side of the screen, and I'm opening up the first situation. So if in your team your employees are highly motivated, competent, and know the job that is being done, which style will you use? Can you put in the chat box? A, B, C, D, E. How is a highly motivated, competent, know their jobs? Please go ahead. A, B, C, D, E. Oh, I'm getting F, B, E, 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 E. Okay, no worries. Essentially, it should be D. It should be democratic style. They are motivated, they're competent, know their job, so get their ideas. Don't impose your ideas on them. You will demotivate them if you impose your idea, your solutions, your way of working on them. So that's one. When there is diverse and conflicting groups within your team and you want them to work together harmoniously, which style would be the most appropriate to be used by the leader? Can you again put in the chat box? So C, affiliate. B, the correct answer is C here. Be more affiliative. It requires people. Because when people are able to work harmoniously, then you can get the results. But you can't push them. You can get results one day. But if their internal conflicts do not go away, next day you will have the same problem. How long will you continue to be either pace setting or commanding? You need to be affiliative. When an employee acknowledges a discrepancy between their current level of performance and where their potential is or where they could be, which style would be most appropriate here? Third situation. I'm seeing F from Zenildo, which is, and Karuna also says F, which is coaching, F, F. Wonderful. So use coaching style there, which is about asking them questions, asking them where they want to be and how they can reach there, make them think themselves, make them figure out the solution themselves. Right? The next one is when people may deviate from compliance, and that can cause problems. So if that is the situation, which style would be the most appropriate? Zenildo was fast one, and everybody seems to be coming up now. Sarthak, everybody says A. Yeah, commanding. Tell them, instruct them, do this or do this otherwise. That sort of a language will work. Compliance issues. Right? When team and employees need to manage change, change is happening constantly, right? We are right now going through a change, a very dramatic change. We do not know what will come at the end of this change. When team and employees are going through that change or any change, which style would be the most appropriate one? Wonderfully said by Chirag and everybody. Change is associated with vision. So you have to be very visionary. You have to set clear direction here, and then people will follow you. Good. Last one on this page. In the instances when the leader himself is not clear or confident about his approach, what should he do? I don't know the answer. Then, as a leader, what should I be doing? Which style? I'm seeing D from Sarthak, D from Harshita. Great. The answer is D, democratic. I don't know. So therefore, let me invite views. What do you think? That sort of a leadership style will work. I have three more. Since I have time, I run through it.
Hello. Sir, this is so because when nobody is clear, it's better to have a team thinking together.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, democratic. So get people to contribute, right? Ask them, what do you think? It could be team, it could be individual, depending on that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
With you, sir.
So with problem employees, when all else failed, there are some problem employees in your team. You have tried everything and still things are not working out. Which style will you use now? Sarthak says A. With problem employees. D and D. The answer is A. When like they say in Hindi, Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed. When everything else fails, use commanding style, the coercive style. Right? When employees take initiative, which means they want to grow and build their own professional development and do their own professional development, which style would be the best one? Clearly, F is the answer, coaching. I will not take this question because the answer is in the question itself. Yeah? Viral, we can hear what you are saying, but we can't understand what you are saying because you're using Gujarati, which I don't know. Thank you. Okay. So the last one is when a new vision or clear direction standards are needed. The answer is B, right? The answer is in the question itself, B, the visionary style. So that was all I had. And we have spent about 45 minutes on this. And I want to take a pause now. And I will now like to answer any questions that you might have. Is that okay, Peterson, right now?
Yes, sir. So we'll be running a poll before we take any questions from our participants. So we'll request all our participants to kindly participate in this poll and share your feedback on our today's session. While you are doing so, please also share your questions pertaining to our today's session in the chat box. Once again, I would like to thank all the participants for joining our session today. We have received a lot of inquiry about the e-certificate offered by HRAI. You can claim your certificate by sharing your details, that is your name and session attended, in an email to the email ID provided in the chat window. Please ensure that you do this by the 30th of April 2021. We will email the e-certificate to you based on details received latest by 2nd of May 2021. So, Mr. Deepak, we have a question. Hello, Mr. Deepak. Yeah, Mr. Deepak, can you hear me?
Hello. Yeah, I can hear you, Peter, sir.
Yeah, actually, I was checking on Mr. Deepak Sahane.
Okay, okay.
I think he left.
Yeah, he got dropped off. Let me just connect back.
I think he is disconnected.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so there has been a power issue that I got via message from him. He has asked that he'll be coming back in a minute or two. He's just trying to restart things. Just be patient enough. During
Yeah,
that
Peter,
time,
I have
would
one
request
question.
yes, Mr. Deepak.
Uh, the poll which you are using now, that is very simplified only, the good and bad.
Okay.
And I think, yeah, it's my feedback. I think it should be because you have very good speakers, and I really like your program from last 1 year.
Okay.
So that should be little bit feedback should be in a different way, so that it's in the rating or something else. It's not in a good and bad.
Sure.
That's my thought only.
Noted, suggestion noted. We'll definitely.
Maybe on Likert scale, you can say like on the range of 5, we can give you feedback. That will work, I guess.
Because your speaker is wonderful, and you are writing only the feedback form good and bad. So that's our suggestion. If it can be in a fantastic way.
Yeah, Mr. Deepak. So suggestion noted.
I'm sorry. My power shutdown happened and the whole system got rebooted. So I'm here back. Thank you so much for your patience.
Yes, sir. So thank you so much for joining back.
Yeah.
So we have one question that is there from Mr. Deepak.
Yeah.
And I would like to put that before you.
Sure.
I have employees going down on motivation few months after joining a new company. They
A new company or my company?
Joining a new company, that is what he mentioned. They starve for more rewards to get motivated. Please guide how to handle such employees.
Where is Deepak in this?
Yeah, Deepak,
Where is
can you
Deepak?
unmute yourself?
Hello.
Yeah, Deepak, can
Yes,
you, because I'm not able to understand the first part of the question. If you can help me understand, what is your exact question?
Okay, so my question is that, I have come across teams, right? They, when they join us, they're extremely motivated. But over a period of maybe 3 months, their motivation goes down. They look for something new, something extra, right? And that impacts the quality of delivery in terms of their work.
What percentage of people do you sense feel demotivated when they join in? If 10 people join, all 10, all 5, or just 1 or 2?
See, this happens over a period of time. I'm talking about maybe 3 months, 4 months, after
Whatever.
joining. Yeah.
What I'm saying. How often do you see this? What number, what frequency do you see this? Out of 10, how many people tend to feel demotivated after some time?
30, 40.
30, 40%?
Yeah.
Pretty high. Let me ask you this question, Deepak, yourself.
Okay.
What will you, when you join a company, what will you see not happening for you to feel demotivated?
So, I think if my expectations are not met up in terms of what I'm looking forward to.
Right. The first one is I have been promised something in the interview or told something in the interview, and when I join in, I don't see that happening. That's one. What else?
Second can be the nature of work.
Right. Nature of work means the way, again, if people walk in, they are explained the nature of work. But what was told to me versus what is actually being given to me could be different. That could be a reason for demotivation. Great. What is the third reason?
Third reason can be, it depends, it can be, more rewards and recognitions in the process.
Which means rewards and recognition is essential part of drivers of climate. If there are not enough rewards, given an acknowledgement and thank yous and credits for good work done, that can be demotivating. Okay, what else?
I think these are the three key reasons I can think of.
Let me give you more. The boss, the working style of the boss that they're working with.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
The whole culture in the organization could be also a contributor, coming from where they are which organization they are coming from. The fifth could be they come in, they have been told something, but they don't see future potential, which means they don't see growth in that organization happening. Not enough support available to employees in terms of training and development. That could be one. Third could be that people who are already inside the organization start to give them a whole lot of insights about the culture of the team, and that starts to demotivate them. There can be many, many reasons. The point is that rather than saying, how do I demotivate them? How do I motivate demotivated people? Is to first look inward and say, what am I doing or what am I not doing, which could be causing this? That's where you begin your answer from. Does that make sense to you, Deepak?
Yeah.
There is no right or wrong answer. It's just every organization, every leader, every team has to do it. Sometimes you may find, Deepak, that there are 10 leaders, and when people join in with one leader, they stay. With other leaders, they go very quickly, 3, 6, 8, 12 months. And you still don't replace the leader. You keep replacing the people. You don't go and take corrective action of the leader. His style is becoming a problem maybe. That's why people are leaving. And HR heads, L&D heads don't take any action on that. And they continue to suffer. So you will have to do a lot of bisection to figure out what could be the causing. Am I right, Peter? Peter's an HR guy. He would know me better than me.
Great response, Deepak, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deepak.
Very helpful. Now,
I was surprised Deepak asking me question. I thought Deepak are brilliant guys. They don't ask questions, but he asked me a question. Nevertheless, Deepak, thank you.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Any
so
other
we
question we have?
Question? Yeah, we have a next question that's from Sapan. When you want to adopt a particular leadership style with a team member, but can't because he is in good books of seniors, how do we manage such situation?
Okay, like I was explaining to Deepak, we keep thinking about situations where we believe we don't have control on, right? In this case, he or she is a favorite of the senior, right? That's why I can't use it, right? But there is something still in your control. And that is that can you go to that senior and talk to him that this is what I want to do, this is how I want to work with him, but it seems that you have a liking for him. This is my view. Have that conversation with him or her. No? Otherwise, you will keep saying, what should I do? What should I do? You're not doing the difficult work of going to the senior and talking to him about what you're facing. Take it head on. No? What will happen? He says, no, leave him like that. Then at least you are absolved of that guilt that you may be carrying, that I can't get work done from him just because he's a favorite. But mind you, word of caution. I have seen this practical in my life, that when people have gone to the leader, he says, favorite? What type of favorite? He works. If it doesn't work, do whatever you want to do with him. But you have to reach that viewpoint, that data, which will establish with him that this guy is not working well, or is not behaving well, or is not contributing to whatever is expected of him. Right? Be clear on that. Does this help?
Great solution, sir. So I hope that helps, Sapan. Now, we coming to the next question we have, that's by Karuna. Any appropriate leadership style combination that need to be adopted in this pandemic, or only affiliation style will work?
First of all, Karuna, just one style will never work in any given situation. Even in pandemic time, leaders need to learn to balance affiliation, which is empathy and compassion, with results, isn't it? Which means that you don't expect people to work on a Saturday, Sunday, because they are working at home. Maybe they are washing the utensils because the maids cannot come home, and so on and so forth, right? But at the same time, on other 5 days, they have to enable and support, maybe do pace setting with their people to be able to get more work done, get more productivity out of them. So it is not, again, you're saying which will work the best. There is no one style which will work the best. You have to have the styles based on the situation. And uh, pandemic is a global situation. It's at 30,000 feet level. Within that, there are some people who probably are not impacted. There are some people who are impacted. Some people are severely impacted. Some people are less impacted. So you have to keep varying your style. You have to be more flexible there. No one style in any given situation is good enough. In any given situation at a macro level. But in a specific, yes, it will work. Yeah. Okay. Is that all?
Beautifully answered. Okay, we have one more that came from Sarthak. With most of companies in India being the Lala company, how difficult it is to have professed high quality leadership style?
Again, are you noticing this trend? I can't be that leader because Lala is there. I can't be the leader because that favorite. Point is, take ownership. Leadership is about taking ownership. So in this case also, Lala is dealing with you. Let it not impact the team that is working with you. You continue to be the leader you want to be. You have a choice. If you don't have a choice, leave and go. You want to stay there and still give reasons of Lala being there. That's why you can't build that. Difficult to digest. You are at freedom. You may not be at 100% freedom, but 80-70% you can. And therefore manage your team the way you want. There is a saying that don't treat people the way you don't want to be treated. So if you don't like something Lala does to you, don't do it to your team, no? Don't use Lala as an excuse to say, my Lala does this to me, therefore I will do this to my team, right? So be careful around that. It's a lazy argument to say because of it. It's hard work. Leadership is hard work, remember. It's not easy work. Amir Khan does one movie in a year. Why? Because he changes his appearance. He works hard on it. He could do 4 movies like Salman Khan or Akshay Kumar, but he does one movie. It's a choice. If you make a choice to be a leader, you have to go through the pain. It's not easy. It's not a cakewalk. Okay,
Nicely
thank you.
answered. So we have our next question that is from Zenildo Dias. Tenured employees feel entitled in an organization, hence will come across challenges for any change management. This creates a blocker for growth. How do we feel with these people?
Right. So again, few things which will come into play. One is tenured employees. What type of relationship you have with them, which is affiliative style. The second style which will come into play is authoritative or visionary style, which means how are you showing them the benefits of that change that you want to bring about. They are tenured. They are used to a particular way. And that's how you should deal with them. That show them. So there are 2 styles which come out clearly. Now let us say some of them are experienced and motivated, but they're not motivated to change. Can you use democratic style with them and say, look, this change will happen. Use a bit of a commanding language, will happen. I want you to tell me how we should do it. Use them, leverage their skills and competencies and strengths to get ideas from them, to involve them. That could be a democratic style. So what I'm trying to say, Dias, is that the situation has many, many pieces, and you have to look at these pieces. You can't use just one style and get it done, especially when it comes to change in the case of tenured employees. So many, many factors will come into play, and you will have to really look at it. It's like a cricket match, right? You are down to last 2 wickets. You still have 20 runs to score in 8 balls. You know, if I go out, the other guy will not be able to score. You have an opportunity to score 1 run, But if you take one run, you go to the non-striker end. So it's dilemma. Therefore, you have to look at many multiple things and then take a decision. If you remember, in one of the matches, Sanju Samson was to score 5 runs, last 2 balls, and he hit a ball and it went to a player, fielder. He stopped the ball. Sanju Samson could have taken 1 run, and Chris Morris, who's also a big hitter, could have come from the other side. Then they would need 4 runs. But he made a choice not to. Okay. And then next ball, he hit the ball and he hit a 4. He could not hit a 6. It dropped short. So situation has multiple dimensions. You will have to take decisions based on each element of that dimension. So not straight answer. Leadership does not give straight answers, provide same. Thank you so much, Ronaldo, for saying that.
Yeah, beautifully answered, sir. We do see questions coming in. With the time, keeping the time factor in mind, we will take one last question. We have that from Karuna again. When leaders, not from management himself, is not willing to accept any law of change in the system, and his respective team members are also not in favor of change, thus creating hindrance in the path of HR, how to handle this situation? So this is like linked to that. It's a follow-up question on that.
Okay, when leader not from management, can you explain, Karuna?
So in organization, there are some leaders who are actually not from the management, but they are working under the management. Because in my current company, it's basically a sales organization. So
No.
when I joined that company,
Karuna, don't give me that background. I'm saying when you say leader not from management, I don't get it. Management means Lala owner company. They are not the owners.
no, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So leader is not willing to accept any change, and his team members are not in favor of. There is a background noise coming from somewhere. Can you be on mute, please? Yeah. Now the point is, who is driving that change? Whatever change is required, who is driving that? Because this leader is not accepting the change, his team members are not accepting it. Who is driving that change? That's important. Is HR driving that change? Is the owners driving that change? Who's driving this change, which they are resisting? Karuna?
It's HR in consultation with management who actually like HR suggested. It's me only suggested, sir, we should follow this rule or change in our company for better culture or environment.
Okay. Now it is getting into another dimension, but a quick input to you here is that change management is also is a skill. It's an expertise. Change management essentially says that people don't resist change, they resist the pain associated with change. So HR may like to figure out what are their resistance points, what are the type of pain they are envisaging as a result of that change. Because if you change the leader, you can change the team. What is the pain in their head and heart that they're associating with this change? Understand that, find answers to that, you may find a change in these people in terms of their attitude towards change. That's one way of looking at it. The second way of looking at it is that if they are completely shutting it out, then you have to take the hard action. If it is for the overall good of the organization, then you can't let a team of 10, 20 people impact, because remember, these things have a salutary effect. If this team does not change, then what might happen? The word will spread and others will say, if they are not doing it, why we should do it? And it will become a disease. It will become a malaise in the system. So you will have to take hard actions, but begin by being more affiliative, begin by being more democratic to say, we are thinking of this change. What do you think is the pain? What do you think is the challenges with this change? Make them, draw them into the process of change. Don't make them sit outside the change. Make them part of the change. Ask them those questions. What is working for them currently, what is not, and how that change can benefit them. How can the change will upset them, and what you can do to reduce that discomfort of that change. It requires dialogue. It requires two-way interaction with them. There is no other way. There's no other way. Accepting the hard way. Chuck them out. All of them. I'm just kidding. Very difficult for HR to take these actions, but figure that out. How do you engage with them? Sometimes you have to look at influencers, Karuna. This leader may be influenced by some other senior leader in the company. So you may go to them, talk to them, and they may influence them. You'll have to figure out, there are a lot of, in a nice way I'm using, there's politics in the organization. A lot of leaders will resist changes coming from HR. But if the change comes from somebody else, they will accept it. So figure that out if there is any politics at play. Politics not in a negative way, but every organization politics, you need to learn how to manage it. So figure out who are the influencers, who can influence this leader positively. Talk to them, and maybe they will have a word and they will explain. Then they will understand.